Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Relationships. Being cheated on is a horrible experience, and trying reconciliation is not for everybody. In today's one-story video, OP makes his cheating wife go through hell to try reconciliation. So let's get started. This one's from user Throwaway Lots of Pain. Wife, 11 year, 2 kids, 11 and 9. She cheated for 8 months, I knew for the last 3. Still working on it. Long story short, married to wife 11 years, 2 kids 11 and 9, she cheated for 8 months, I knew for the last 3. I did not confront her until I had evidence lined up, including video and a separation agreement in hand from a solid lawyer. This is about 9 months ago. That's my D-Day. I waited for her to get home from her affair partner. She had no idea that I knew anything. The second she saw me sitting at the table, she got very nervous. I asked her to sit down because we needed to talk. I was totally cried out at this point and didn't really care. I had decided that divorce was the only option the day I first found out. Wife sits down looking very panicked and says, "You're scaring me, what is this about?" To this I reply, "I am not here to discuss your infidelity. I know everything. I am here to sort out our separation and divorce." I put my wedding ring on top of the folder with the separation agreement inside and pushed it in front of her. The wife starts bawling, begging, apologizing, pleading, all the usual stuff. We get nowhere. I just toss whatever she comes up with back in her face. "I love you. You hurt me the worst I have ever been hurt and slept with another man because you love me so much?" After a couple of hours, I tell her to go to a hotel and that we will continue tomorrow. I tell her if she doesn't sign the separation agreement, I will tell everyone today what she has been doing. I know, signed under duress, but at the time, I just wanted it to end. She ends up signing. She leaves and I receive messages and calls all night. I answer occasionally in one-shot responses. Mainly, "I will not read this message or talk to you until tomorrow afternoon." The next day, the severity of the situation has sunk in with her. She begs for another chance, marriage counseling, etc. She will do anything. I informed her that I would file on Monday and that she had 90 days to convince me that divorce is a mistake. I don't know why I offered that. I was weak. I had decided to end it, and I just folded. The next day, I had prepared a list of things she had to do. I didn't show it to her, I just told her the list existed, and unless she abided by it, we would be no contact apart from the kids, and that the divorce would be unstoppable, and I would inform everyone of what she had been doing. I also informed her that even perfect compliance was no guarantee that we would not divorce, that my trust in her at this point was below 0. And that I didn't even love her anymore. She killed what we had, and the only reason I considered reconciling and building something new was our kids. I didn't mean to say this. Again, I couldn't follow through on what I had decided to do. The list consisted on the following. 1. No lies. She had to make a document of everything she had done with him. Describe how it started, what in her mind gave her the right to do this to me and to her own children. If she cut corners, rose-tinted anything, or omitted anything, all efforts on my part would be over. 2. Full access to all social media phones, computer, her salary, and bank statements. 3. She would report where she is and what she does at all times. 4. Individual counseling for her 2 to 3 times a week until she could understand her own choices. Only later, marriage counseling. She agreed, made the list, and gave me access. Then I told her about the following points in sequence, only after she carried out each task. 5. She had to meet affair partner's wife face to face and tell her everything and hand over all the evidence she had and offer to be a witness in court if needed. She refused at first. She managed to say she couldn't do that to him. I pointed out that she made a choice to protect affair partner's feelings over her own family. If she didn't do this, this reconciliation attempt was over. I was going to tell affair partner's wife if she didn't. If she wouldn't own this, there was no willingness from my end. I had to tell her there would be no chance of ever reconciling. In the end, she agreed and actually told affair partner's wife everything. Affair partner's wife slapped her, kicked her, pulled her hair, screamed at her. Wife took it and didn't fight back. I didn't protect her. She got some gashes and some bald spots. In the car afterwards, I informed her that her affair partner had been seeing another woman in addition to my wife, and showed her the evidence from the PI I hired. I am ashamed of how much I enjoyed watching her pain when she realized she was just another piece of meat to this guy. 6. She had to explain herself to the kids and what the likely outcome for our family would be. 7. Explain what she had done to everyone in our family and our friends. And 8. I would have an affair for 3 months. I would lie to her face, sneak around behind her back, form a deep emotional relationship with another woman. I needed her to understand what she asked me to forgive, the humiliation, the pain. She would understand we risked that I could fall in love and even leave her for my affair partner. At the end of the 3 months, I would tell her everything truthfully. Number 8 was especially hard on both of us. I would sneak around and act like I was cheating. I had Tinder installed. I would make sure she got glimpses of it every now and again. I would pretend I was secretly texting. I would go out and be gone all night. I would go away for weekends. In reality, I wasn't seeing anyone. I just stayed in hotels, rented cabins and Airbnbs. I would just get drunk most of the time and cry. Wife was freaking out more and more. I felt terrible as well. I hated it. I could barely do it and I was only pretending? She did it with such ease. I think this is the hardest part for me. I can't see her in the same light. I wanted to show her what she asked me to forgive, but instead I learned what a horrible person you have to be to do this to someone else. We are now in marriage counseling and she is making progress. Me, not so much. Some days are worse than others, I guess. For now, I keep the divorce papers on the ready. For some reason, I have not pulled the trigger. Not entirely sure if I understand why. We haven't been intimate or very close, but we are not fighting anymore, so I guess that is progress. She is very apologetic. I know we have a long way to go. Who knows where this will end up? I can't get past how terrible I felt when I pretended, yet she did it with ease? I just can't see her in a positive light. I see her as a monster. I wish I ended it the first day, but now that I have dragged us both so far along, is there any way for me to move past seeing her like this? I have forgiven the rest, I just can't get past this. Edit. I told her that I hadn't actually been seeing anyone after just 7 weeks. I couldn't keep up the charade, I just felt horrible from it. Edit 2. Thank you all for the helpful input. I will take my new perspectives and see if I can make any progress. I will post an update in a few weeks if anything works. So that's the first post. What do you guys think so far? I personally wouldn't have done what OP did because reconciliation is just not for me for the type of person that I am and because I've never been put in this situation. At the same time, I can't judge OP for doing what he did because it's his relationship and most importantly, it's his family. Like he said, he's doing this for the kids, which is not necessarily a good reason, but it is his reason. I have to say, I do like the list and the fact that he made his wife confront the affair partner's wife and get beaten. And also that he's gonna make her own up to everything in front of her kids, family, and friends. I can also see how conflicted he is with himself for not going through the divorce. He's probably feeling like he's a weak simp or something like that. But again, it's his relationship and his decision. And that's just my opinion. However, we do have an update, so let's continue with that. First, thank you for everyone that contacted me on my original post, good and bad. I got a lot of new perspectives and it has helped me find my way forward, at least for a few more steps. My wife and I have been up all night after I showed her the post yesterday. Here is an update and some comments and reflections. We know our chances of success are very low and that it will probably take many, many years before we are past the worst of it. But we both agreed this morning that we are committed to try. She was absolutely devastated by some of the things I said and many of the comments. Still, in the end, we managed to have a real conversation. Even though we both try, we don't always succeed with that. To everyone that spoke to me in absolutes, it's a totally different thing to be in the middle of something like this compared to looking at it from the outside. Nothing is clear or easy. Emotions are overwhelming, and even deciding to get up in the morning to face a new day is almost impossible. If I were to try to explain how hard it is to think clearly and to make good choices, I will give you this. Imagine you are living your life. You are on the top of the mountain. You can see the horizon in all directions and you have no doubts. Your mind and thoughts are clear. You know who you are and what you want and where you want to go. Then imagine being yanked from the top of that mountain, stuffed in a dark sealed coffin and spun around so fast that all your blood rushes down to your legs. You are almost passing out. You can barely think. You are getting nauseous and dizzy and you want to throw up more than anything. This is the closest I can get to explain the trauma my brain experienced. Of course I will make some bad choices in such a state. I think everyone will make bad choices in this state. To those that are telling us we were hurting our children, we don't think so. We talked to our kids and they are very grateful that we have told them and kept them involved in our efforts. As my youngest put it, it's my family too. They have more faith in us than we have, and they are grateful that we ask their advice and opinions. We have been very careful to let them know we will not accept that they choose sides. We have also been very clear that none of this is their responsibility or fault. They have told us they like being involved and helping us together and as individuals. They will dish out encouraging words and extra hugs when they feel we need it. They accept that this might not be possible to fix, but they have told us that they will be disappointed if we give up without trying properly. The first few months were very stressful, but after things calmed down, they were very grateful for being allowed to be involved. Some of their friends are in situations where their families are breaking up, and their friends feel like they are mushrooms, kept in the dark and fed crap. So our kids are better off than us, it seems, and I just hope we don't disappoint them too much. To those who thought I was psychotic and wondered how I could be so hard and torture my wife while offering reconciliation, to be clear, on D-Day I had no intention of offering anything. I was determined to just end it as soon as possible. I was still determined to do so when she came back the next day. When she offered to do anything, begged me to give her a chance. At that point, I couldn't do it. I couldn't leave her. I felt weak. I was ashamed of myself. I was angry and I wanted her to suffer. But deep down, I still loved her. I just couldn't admit it or end it. I took some thinking time, made the list, and made my demands. I never in my wildest dreams expected her to agree to the toughest terms. I did not expect her to tell the affair partner's wife. I did not expect her to tell our kids, families, and friends. And I definitely didn't expect her to stand by me in my pretend revenge affair. Truth be told, I wanted her to give up. But I also wanted her to suffer. I was convinced that her suffering would make me feel better. It didn't. As she did everything I asked, I could no longer deny that she was being sincere, that she wanted to work things out, that she was regretful for what she had done. She has been putting everything she can into reconciling. I must sadly admit, I have not. I have been searching for some reason to give up and leave her, or to make her give up and leave. I have been incredibly cruel at times. I have vented my fury at her, and I am a terrifying guy. She has just taken it. She doesn't try to excuse herself. She just takes it. She told me she has never been afraid of me. I am not sure I believe that. She tells me she knows I would never physically attack or hurt her. I am not so sure of that myself. I have been pretty close a few times. I hope I never ever pass that line. I am terrified I might permanently injure or kill someone. To those that asked about her reasons for doing it, we have sort of concluded that she felt stagnant and trapped. Our life was too safe and comfortable. It hit her hard after her best friend died, and she was vulnerable to a snake charmer that knew exactly what type of bull smoke to blow up her A. She feels conned now and struggles badly with reconciling her choices with the person she believed herself to be. We have learned that this was a pattern with her affair partner. He had been cheating on his wife with 2 to 3 women at the time since before they started dating. We even found out he has 2 illegitimate sons. As to me, I had not really committed to reconciliation fully. I am a very hard person. I can take and dole it out. I managed to convince myself that I would feel better if my wife suffered. I would be okay with just walking away if I found a good enough reason to give up. I was wrong. I have been searching for reasons to not get close to her again. I was, and I am still deeply wounded. I was scared of letting her get close and getting hurt again. This has prevented us from making any real progress in reconciling. She has been the only one totally committed. Several people asked me if I am just as good at giving out love as I am punishment, and the answer to that is no. But I am working on it now. I have forgiven her, but I have kept her distant while trying to find a reason strong enough to overcome my love for her so I could leave. I will change that and make a real, genuine effort to reconcile. If we fail, we fail. But I will give it my very best from here on in, even if I risk getting hurt again. A lot of people condemned my wife. Some people pointed out that she is just human and made some bad choices. As things are now, I am in charge of the consequences for her bad choices. It's not a role I want. I have thought about this a lot. I also make mistakes. I will act irrationally and can be very cruel to her at times. Me punishing her has driven me literally mad with hatred and anger. Sometimes I have no control over it. She made some bad choices and lost control, as I am still doing. We are just human, both of us. I need to work on ways to move past this together. I will get off my high horse and try to be 50% of this relationship and to be 50% of the effort trying to work it out. As for my wife, the day after D-Day, she had accepted that I was dead serious. There was nowhere to hide, no forgiveness, nothing. She knew that her chances to save her family were slim at best, but she would do anything to try. It's clear now that she never actually loved the affair partner. She loved the thrill, the fantasy. She told me she is grateful for my ironclad, rock-hard approach. It ripped her out of the affair fog, smacked some sense into her, and got her focused front and center on what was important. She also felt that her punishment was justified, and it helped her to not hate herself as much. She has thanked me so much for not letting her off the hook and pushing through. She is punishing herself harder than I ever did. She has contemplated ending her life even, but she didn't do it at the time because she felt she would get off too easy. I found out that she has been harming herself since D-Day. She has beaten herself, pinched herself with pliers. I mean, the entire backside of her leg is shades of purple. It's one continuous black mark. This is, of course, not helpful. We have agreed to focus on her forgiving herself. We cannot heal unless that happens. In a way, it's strange. Now that she just wants to punish herself, she has lost all the traits that I fell in love with in the first place. Her humor, her smile, well thought out opinions, self-esteem, her loving patience, etc. I don't think it's helpful for me redeveloping any feelings towards her when her punishing herself suppresses the very things I loved about her. The reasons I got together with her and married her in the first place. So, all in all, we have made some progress thanks to all the helpful strangers on the internet. We have a long way to go, but we have identified some big hurdles to get past. We actually slept in the same bed for the first time since D-Day, so there's that. It was nice to sleep next to her again. I still love her, and I kind of hate myself for it. But then I think about my kids and it gives me strength to keep at it. We will try to create something new since the old relationship is gone at this point. Thanks again, everyone. Extract from OP's comment. Communication is vital. My wife and I have struggled with this. Not all the time, but often we do not communicate properly. I have been trying to figure out my contribution in her choosing to cheat. My wife hasn't been able to share or verbalize this yet. I am sure there was something she needed that I didn't provide. I have been really cruel to her over the last 9 months. I guess I had to get it out of my system, but it's only now that I am able to properly reflect and see the damage this has done. I had to become emotionally exhausted before I could properly commit to reconciling. I damaged her in the process. I had a tough upbringing and I am a very hard man, afraid of, suspecting there was something emotional I didn't provide. Hopefully, we will be able to find out so I can work on improving it. By letting my anger rule me for the last 8 to 9 months, I have greatly damaged my wife. I see now she is a shell of her former self. Since D-Day, I have been chipping away at her self-esteem and self-worth. I have been very cruel. I have been putting maximum effort into being the husband any woman deserves since I realized this. Tiny kinds of gestures, affection, attention, love. This has exposed the price of my anger. My kind efforts make her worse. It's clear to me that she believes she doesn't deserve anything good. She doesn't deserve love and kindness. She truly believes she deserves only cruelty and suffering. I have arranged for daily therapy sessions for both of us every day for the next few weeks. Hopefully, we can get through this. And that's all we have. What do you guys think about this? I hope you don't mind, but my commentary now might be a little bit longer than usual, so if you're not interested in listening to me, which is totally cool, you can just end the video here. For those of you who are curious about what I've got to say, well, thanks for sticking around. So, like I said in the beginning, reconciliation is not for everybody, but from the way he writes, OP seems to be a person who tries to take all of the information possible and make the best decisions, even though he might not make them at the moment. He seems to be somebody that analyzes his life and his actions and how they impact everything around him. I find that very admirable because I sometimes lack that kind of vision, let's say. To be perfectly honest with all of you, I've read a lot of cheating stories on this channel, and I usually say, hey, they cheated on you, they're done, they suck, get away from them and move on. But reading this story has made me think about what might be going on under the surface. This doesn't mean that I'm excusing cheating. Cheating still sucks and it shouldn't be done at all. However, OP's story has opened my mind on the topic of reconciliation. If it is something that can truly be done, it is in a very particular case, like this one. Things like, what is going on in the cheater's life that pushes them to cheat? I don't think it's just lust, you know? At the same time, what behavior is the cheated spouse exhibiting that might motivate or push the other spouse to cheat on them? So I guess not every cheating situation is a black and white binary sort of thing. I think what I'm trying to say is that not every cheating situation is exactly the same, just like people. They're all individual and they're different and they have different things that impact them or involve them. OP's story has given me a lot to think about and I'm really grateful that I read it. So I'm gonna stop my commentary here because it's been long enough and you guys have endured a very long video. All I'm gonna say now is, OP, if you're gonna go through with this, I wish you all the best and that you guys can truly make this work. It sounds like you will. All the best to you guys. And so we've reached the end of the video. I truly hope you guys liked it. If you did, go ahead and click like. Of course, don't forget to subscribe and click that bell icon so you get notified every time I upload a new video. Also, here are more videos from my channel that you might enjoy. And having said all that, I will see you guys on the next video.